If you want to buy a house today, the internet is honestly your worst enemy. Seriously.
Right. Yeah, it totally is.
Like, you don't need more data, you need significantly less of it. We've been trained, to think that having access to billions of web pages empowers us.
Oh, absolutely. But when it comes to real estate, that massive scale actually paralyzes us.
Exactly.
It's the paradox of choice. But amplified by geographic irrelevance, we're just constantly drowning in macro-level data.
Right, while starving for the localized context that actually affects our daily lives. You just want to know if you can afford, like, a three-bedroom house in a specific neighborhood on Long Island.
And within 10 minutes, you have 40 browser tabs open.
Oh, at least 40. And you're looking at conflicting advice from 5 different SEO-optimized websites,
Yeah, reading about national housing starts or, average home prices in the Midwest.
which have absolutely zero bearing on what you're going to pay in Suffolk County. It's an incredibly stressful, exhausting way to make the biggest financial decision of your life.
And that fatigue is universally felt. I mean, the traditional internet search model is built to give you everything everywhere all at once.
Right. But real estate is fundamentally stubbornly local.
Yes, exactly. What's happening on a macro national level often completely contradicts what is happening on a single block in a specific town.
Which brings us to the actual mission of today's deep dive. We are looking at the source material for a very specific, fascinating new tool that is attempting to do the exact opposite of Google.
It actively wants to shrink your world down.
It really does. It's called Cobbleridge AI, developed by Cobbleridge Realty Corp. And it's designed to solve this exact frustration for consumers, buyers, and sellers, specifically in the Long Island, New York market.
Right, a very localized focus.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because my immediate skeptical reaction is, isn't this just ChatGPT wearing a real estate agent's name tag?
That's fair.
Like, how is this any different than just typing my question into a generic AI?
Well, it's far from it, actually. But your skepticism is totally justified. What's fascinating here is the deliberate narrowing of the tool's focus.
How so?
It's the underlying architecture. The sources explicitly position this as a smart Long Island real estate assistant. Generic AI models or, massive national real estate aggregators, they're designed to capture the widest possible audience.
Right. They want everyone using it.
Exactly. They are built to generate traffic from Seattle to Miami. That means their training data is just this massive generalized soup.
A giant soup of numbers.
Yeah. So if you ask a generic AI about normal property taxes, it's going to aggregate national averages.
Oh, wow. Which on Long Island?
This is useless.
Yeah.
Applying a national average to Long Island property taxes will result in a completely hallucinated, wildly inaccurate financial picture for a buyer.
Because the taxes there are notoriously high.
Exactly.
Searching for real estate online is like trying to drink from a fire hose of national data when you just need a glass of water from Long Island.
That is a perfect analogy.
Standard search engines and generic AI are like giant billboards on an interstate highway. They're designed to show you what everyone else in the country is seeing.
Right.
But this localized AI sounds more like, I don't know, riding shotgun with the neighborhood mail carrier. It only knows the exact routes, the local tax codes, and the highly specific quirks of this particular zip code.
Yes. By deliberately grounding the AI's training and functional parameters, what the source text calls the Cobbleridge Realty approach, specifically within the Long Island market, it acts as a hyper-curator.
So it filters out the noise.
It throws out the national fire hose entirely. The AI isn't tasked with knowing the market dynamics of Austin, Texas. It's constrained to understand Long Island, which vastly improves the accuracy and relevance of its outputs.
Okay, that makes sense on a theoretical level. Constraining the data set reduces the noise. But let's get into the actual weeds of what this looks like for the user.
Sure.
Because normally, if I want to figure out my actual monthly cost for a house, I'm going on a digital scavenger hunt.
Oh, the worst.
It is. I have to find the listing price on a site like Zillow, then go dig through opaque municipal public records or like local Reddit forums to figure out what the property taxes actually are.
And then go to a totally different banking website to check today's 30-year mortgage rate just to do the math.
Exactly. It's a completely fragmented user journey.
Yeah.
You are acting as the data synthesizer, which is exhausting.
And you're not a real estate professional, so you're guessing half the time.
Right. And looking at the specific examples and the sources of what Cobbleridge AI can process, the shift from just pulling hard numbers to providing local nuance is pretty stark.
It really is.
You can ask it a standard database query, like find homes in Suffolk County under $700,000. But then, in the same conversational thread, you can ask it, what are taxes usually like in Smithtown?
And that juxtaposition is exactly where the value lies.
Yeah.
Finding a home under $700,000 in Suffolk County is easy.
Yeah.
I mean, any search engine algorithm can spit that out. But understanding the typical tax burden in a specific township like Smithtown, that requires an understanding of localized municipal realities.
Because it changes so much, right?
Dramatically.
Yeah.
When a buyer is evaluating affordability on Long Island, the sticker price of the home is only half the equation. Property taxes there are notoriously significant, and they can vary wildly from one town to the very next town over.
So you could theoretically find two identical houses for $700,000 in two neighboring Long Island towns, and your actual monthly payment could be hundreds or even thousands of dollars different simply because of the localized municipal tax rate.
Precisely. What Cobbleridge AI does is bring those disparate, hard-to-find data points together.
Like the macro and the micro?
Exactly. It takes the macro financial reality of today's 30-year mortgage rate and the micro-local reality of Smithtown property taxes and puts them into a single, unified conversational thread. It does the synthesizing for you instantly.
Okay, pulling tax data is great, but the sources show the AI goes even deeper into actual market conditions.
Oh, it goes much deeper.
Another example query they highlight is asking the AI, what's the average days on market in Huntington? Now, hold on. Isn't that specific metric days on market the exact kind of proprietary MLS data that real estate brokers historically use to gatekeep?
Yes.
Isn't hoarding that information the whole reason they maintained their value proposition for so long?
That is an incredibly astute point. Historically, yes. The MLS, the multiple listing service, was a walled garden.
You couldn't just Google it.
No, you had to go through a human gatekeeper to get the real, unvarnished data about market velocity. If we connect this to the bigger picture, days on market is the most critical metric for understanding leverage in a real estate transaction.
All right, because if a house has been sitting there for a week versus 3 months, my strategy as a buyer completely changes.
Exactly. If homes in Huntington are sitting on the market for an average of 90 days, you, as a buyer, have negotiating power.
I can lowball them.
You can ask for seller concessions. You can bid under the asking price. But if those homes are flying off the market in 12 days, you need to move aggressively.
You might need to waive contingencies or something.
Yeah. By providing that hyperlocal market temperature instantly, the AI is giving the users situational awareness that used to require a formal sit-down with an agent. It democratizes the leverage.
It's like having the cheat codes to the neighborhood before you even drive through it. You instantly know who holds the cards in Huntington today.
Right.
But, and this is a big but, gathering all this data is still just step one. Knowing what to actually do with that data is where most people freeze up.
That's the real challenge.
And this is where the source material indicates the tool transitions from just being a hyper-local search engine to acting as a strategic guide.
That's a crucial distinction. We often confuse access to information with actual strategy. Having the days on market data is just trivia unless you know how to apply it to a negotiation.
And the sources show the AI is stepping right into that strategy role. It handles complex buyer strategies.
It does.
For instance, the prompt, why use an exclusive buyer's broker? It's educating the user on the legal and strategic nuances of representation. But then the text mentions the ability to ask the AI about off-market opportunities.
Yes, the off-market deals.
Okay, I have to push back hard here. Off-market usually means a whisper network.
It does?
It means a broker knows a guy from a local country club who is thinking about selling but doesn't want to list it publicly yet. It requires deep interpersonal human networking.
Right.
How can lines of code possibly replace a human broker's Rolodex?
Well, it can't, and it isn't trying to. An AI cannot play golf or attend a local charity gala to hear who is getting divorced and needs to sell their house quietly.
So why is it a feature?
Because it acts as an educational bridge. The AI isn't going to magically materialize a secret unlisted house out of thin air for you.
Okay, so what does it do?
What it does is demystify the concept of the off-market deal for the average consumer. Most buyers don't even know off-market deals exist, let alone how to ask for them.
That's true. I definitely didn't when I bought my first place.
Right. The AI can explain what off-market means, why sellers might choose that private route to avoid foot traffic, and crucially, how a brokerage like Cobbleridge actually sources those opportunities through their human networks.
Ah, I see. It elevates the baseline knowledge of the buyer.
Exactly. It empowers the consumer to ask the right, highly educated questions when they eventually do sit down and speak to a human agent.
Right, so you don't sound clueless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Instead of starting the conversation at zero, the buyer walks in and says, I understand the Huntington market is tight right now, with an average of 12 days on market. What kind of off-market strategies can your human network offer me?
Wow.
That is a fundamentally different, vastly more productive conversation.
Here's where it gets really interesting, though, because moving from strategy to sheer bureaucracy, the sources highlight that you can ask the AI about the employee homeownership assistance process.
Oh, yes.
That is an incredibly specific, dense phrase.
Yeah.
That sounds like navigating a labyrinth of HR policies, local government red tape, and union guidelines.
It absolutely is. And it's exactly the kind of topic that causes immense immediate friction for prospective buyers.
I can imagine.
When everyday people encounter bureaucratic phrasing like employee homeownership assistance process, their eyes just glaze over. It feels daunting.
Like doing taxes.
Worse than taxes sometimes.
Uh-huh.
They might actually qualify for thousands of dollars in significant financial help, maybe through their employer, maybe through a local Long Island municipal grant. But the barrier to understanding the process is so impossibly high that they simply abandon it.
It's the paradox of choice all over again. You just want a simple answer, do I get money to help buy a house? And instead, you get a 50-page PDF filled with corporate jargon and legal stipulations.
Precisely. And this is where the natural language processing of an AI shines.
By reading the PDF for you.
By feeding this specific, complex procedural knowledge into the localized system, Cobbleridge is allowing users to translate bureaucratic jargon into plain English.
That's amazing.
You can interact with the AI and say, I work for this hospital system on Long Island. Explain this homeownership assistance process to me like I'm a 5-year-old.
Or like, what are the first 3 literal steps I need to take to apply for this?
Yes. It extracts the actionable steps from the noise.
It breaks down the barrier to entry for financial assistance that people probably didn't even know they could actually use.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's taking something that was previously gated by either an HR department's business hours or a real estate agent's availability and making it instantly accessible.
So it's basically democratizing access to professional, localized real estate strategy. This is designed for, as the source text explicitly says, real people who want real estate information in a simple, fast, and easy way.
That's the core mission.
Which is a great mission statement,
Right.
but it brings us to the actual mechanics of using this tool. Because if the back end of this AI is brilliant and hyper-local, but the user interface requires me to be a prompt engineer to get a straight answer, we are right back to square one with the overwhelm.
Oh, definitely. The user interface is the final and perhaps most critical piece of the puzzle here.
Right.
If your entire goal is to solve the problem of cognitive overload and search fatigue, the design of the tool itself has to be completely frictionless.
Looking at the specific interface details provided in our sources, they've clearly thought about this friction.
They have.
The AI features a talk-to-type function and a voice capability that you can toggle on or off. There's also an admin workspace mentioned, which is likely for the back-end management by the brokerage.
Sure.
But for the actual user, the consumer, it lives on this dedicated Ask AI page located at cobbleridge.com/AskAMaskGuy, ready to answer questions anytime.
Anytime, yeah.
So what does this all mean in practice? Because voice-to-text isn't exactly new. We've had it on our phones for a decade. Why is this specific UI being highlighted as a solution to search overwhelm?
This raises an important question about how we interact with technology, specifically the psychological posture of the user.
What do you mean by posture?
It's not just about avoiding the physical act of typing on a keyboard. It's about the shift from a lean-forward active hunting posture to a lean-back, passive, conversational interface.
Okay, tell me more about that. Lean forward versus lean back.
When you use a traditional search engine, you are leaning forward. You are doing the work. You type a fragmented keyword search like Huntington property tax average 2026, and then you have to actively sift through the results.
Dodging all the sponsored ads.
Exactly, to find the real data. It is an active, aggressive chore. But interacting with a localized AI through a dedicated voice-enabled portal changes that dynamic completely.
Right, because typing out a highly complex multivariable query like, what are the tax implications of buying a $700,000 home in Smithtown with today's 30-year mortgage rates while utilizing my company's employee homeownership assistance process?
Is incredibly tedious.
It is. Nobody's going to type that out on their phone while sitting on their couch.
Exactly. But simply hitting a microphone button and saying that sentence out loud, That removes the cognitive friction entirely. You are no longer performing data entry.
You're commanding an assistant.
Exactly.
And the voice on-off toggle they mention is a really subtle but fascinating detail. It means the AI can actually speak the answers back to you.
Yes, it's a full conversation.
You could literally be washing dishes in your current apartment or driving your car through a neighborhood you like in Huntington
Yeah.
and having a verbal, ongoing conversation with a localized real estate expert.
Right.
It transforms the daunting sit-down task of researching real estate into an ambient, interactive dialogue.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, it's also about psychological safety.
Oh, that's a good point.
When you are just starting to explore buying or selling a home, you often hesitate to reach out to a human agent because you aren't ready to commit.
You don't want to be locked in.
Right. You don't want to feel pressured. You don't want to be entered into a CRM database and get bombarded with sales calls. You just want to learn.
Oh, that is so true. The minute you put your email into a traditional real estate website to see one piece of gated data,
Mhm.
your inbox is flooded for the next 6 months.
It's relentless.
You're constantly dodging calls from people asking, "Are you ready to buy today?"
Precisely. This tool provides a safe, 24/7 sandbox for consumers to get smarter, understand their hyperlocal options, and build their confidence before they ever have to take that next step and engage with a salesperson.
There's no pressure.
Exactly. It removes the pressure of the sales pitch from the initial research phase.
It's a phenomenal shift in how we approach this process. We've really journeyed from the absolute fatigue of endless internet searching, where you are drowning in national data but starving for local context, to something entirely different.
A completely new model.
We are looking at a hyper-localized, voice-activated AI assistant that can instantly synthesize today's macro mortgage rates, tell you about the specific micro tax burden in a place like Smithtown, explain the strategic value of an exclusive buyer's broker, and translate complex corporate housing assistance programs into plain English.
All in a matter of seconds.
It's taking the massive, intimidating world of Long Island real estate and shrinking it down into a simple conversational window on your phone.
It represents a significant evolution. It proves that the future of complex consumer research isn't about giving people access to more information.
Right.
It's about giving them access to better, highly constrained, and synthesized context.
Which leaves us with a pretty massive thought to consider as we wrap up. If a specialized, hyperlocal AI assistant like Cobbleridge AI can instantly synthesize market conditions, municipal taxes, and strategic advice for specific counties and towns,
Yeah.
how long will it be before the massive, traditional, national real estate search engines become entirely obsolete for the average buyer?
That's the million-dollar question.
What happens to the landscape of buying and selling when every single neighborhood, every specific township across the country has its own custom-trained, artificially intelligent expert waiting to talk to you?
It's a total paradigm shift. I mean, eventually, no consumer is going to tolerate being handed an avalanche of irrelevant national data when they know they can just ask a local AI to read them the single page that actually matters.